Salutations, my beloved friends. I just wanted to thank you so much for tuning into the videos and live streams. It's been a blast sharing this with all you and expanding our cosmic journey in new, unprecedented ways with you, all hanging on for dear life in the crew quarters, hoping we don't hit an asteroid. Speaking of unprecedented ways, we have some exciting news. There's going to be new goodies from Rip Daddy here on the channel every day of the week. That's right. Sundays, we have the storytelling streams. Mondays and Tuesdays, we have story videos. Wednesdays, we have Ready to Rip, our live stream homebrew campaign. Thursdays and Fridays, we have story videos. And on Saturdays, we have Knowledge with Nolan episodes dropping. It is really humbling to see so many people who love tabletop RPGs as much as we do, tuning in and finding groups on our Discord server, link below, and sharing ideas and even entire worlds with one another on a daily basis. We would love for you to join our subreddit if you want to share your stories with us. You can find us over at r/MrRipper. And with that, I ask of you, what is the weirdest class, race, backstory combination you've ever come up with? Part 1. With the outset to make the edgiest character possible. In Pathfinder 2nd Edition, I came up with an Aasimar elven rogue, who was the chosen one of the praying mantis deity of death and murder, who was worshipped by a cult of assassins. What I liked about the character was that it made sense for him to be an Aasimar, a blessed creature, because despite doing evil things, assassination, because of his background, he was lawful neutral. That is because is effectively an executioner that other gods from the divine pantheon come to when they need to remove someone who meddles in their affairs. So you had this completely emotionless psychopathic murderer, but at the same time, in the same package, the holier-than-thou avenger on a divine mission to conduct a series of contract killings. I also named him the Silencer. I was not given a name, for he who walks in blood did not deem it necessary, and his judgment shall not be questioned. I have a clumsy kobold artificer named Auric Brewmaster with amnesia that is originally created for Monster of the Week. I'm sitting on pins and needles waiting to roleplay as him in Monster of the Week. Hopefully when I play a D&D game before his amnesia, everything will translate the same between systems. It also occurred to me a couple of days ago that he has unfortunate parallels to a certain crustacean, as he is a red kobold and has an adopted daughter named Pearl. Plan to give him a flump familiar and an overly intelligent roach rival. I have two rather oddball characters I'm currently playing. The first is a tiefling warlock named Thux. Born to a village of lizard folk right before the morning in Eberron, his patron is a mass of writhing tentacles that communicates via images alone. The patron sees all of time as happening simultaneously, so the gifts it gives to Thux could be useful now or in 80 years, and Thux just has to figure it out for himself. The second is a warforged necromancer wizard named Dent that is the bodyguard to a traveling elf merchant named Harvey. In reality, Harvey and Dent are the same person, and Dent just pretends to be a meatbag to increase sales of the illicit and overpriced goods Harvey sells from his cart. I had a character that was a custom race, and his class was Sorcerer. His name was Time, and he was the literal god of time and order. Only problem was that he was made vulnerable. He could be killed by mortal means, although he still didn't age. And he was given amnesia due to a curse cast upon him by his wife, the goddess of nature and chaos. So he ended up accidentally running into the party when they were first meeting each other in the bar. The thing about Time was that he still had his god senses. He could see through all of time and space in every universe. But he didn't have complete control over this. As a result, he got things wrong quite often. He would see things that weren't there and not see things that were there. A demon might appear to be an angel to him, or a halfling might seem to be a giant. This was quite fun to play. The DM would roll periodically to see how close my perception was to reality, and then I would roleplay that. Last campaign, I played an aquatic elf construct artificer. I was Coheed, the Prince of Atlantis. Okay, I see you, Emery Wars. I was fed up with life being predetermined for me, so at a young age I snuck away from my training and left the capital's dome, only to be captured and enslaved by pirates. After a few years of enslavement, an old man in a construct sub rammed into the pirate's ship, freeing as many slaves as he could. Claudio saved my life and took me as his apprentice, and fashioned me a water neck brace to put over my gills to bring me back to health and help me survive out of water. Before he passed away, he gave me the plans for his dream construct, a giant dragonfly construct, Cambria. Cambria was my first construct in honor of Claudio. Throughout my levels, Cambria would slowly advance towards Claudio's desires. I took many mounted combat feats, using a trident like a lance, first giving Cambria a bag of holding at level 4 inside her mouth. watertight compartments in her belly for underwater, a giant caster cannon, status effect shells, and grappling hook front claws. Then flying, and endgame a Dimension Gate workshop inside her belly. Also had a Scout Raven construct Apollo, and a werewolf body armor construct Domino. Wow, this motherfucker likes Coheed and Cambria and the Emery Wars. Coheed is one of my favorite bands of all time, and has been for half of my life. So this one is my favorite so far, because fanboy. Greg Gator. Lizard folk ranger with a heart of gold and a handful of nachos. Greg Gator was a character inspired by Fred Burger from, I'm so excited, I love Fred Burger, from the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. In terms of his backstory, Greg Gator was out in the woods one day near his village when he stumbled on an adult black dragon. Before the dragon had a chance to try and eat him, Greg Gator introduced himself without batting an eye.
Hi, my name is Greg Gator. I can spell my name real good. G-R-E-G-G-R-E-G. Or Greg Gator, yes. Hey, do you like nachos and frozen yogurt?
At this point, my GM objected, saying, "This is a medieval fantasy world. They haven't invented that stuff yet." Me,
come on, let me at least roll for it.
Fine. If you get 100 on the percentile dice, you can have nachos and frozen yogurt, but they only exist in your village. Rolls 100. From that moment on, in sheer amazement, not only did I get to keep the nachos and frozen yogurt, I also got to reflavor Goodberry into good nachos and cure wounds into stuffing a handful of frozen yogurt I pull out of thin air into someone's mouth, but I'm getting off topic. So the dragon is dumbfounded long enough for me to stuff a good nachos spell in his open mouth, which he liked. So I told him we had lots of nachos and frozen yogurt in my village, so I lead him back to share them with him. Right after we got back, Greg Gator said,
"Here's my village. I'll be right back. I have to go poo-poo."
And left to find a bathroom, unknowingly slipped in and out of the astral plane due to him being a Horizon Walker Ranger. By the time Greg Gator returned from his bathroom trip, only a few minutes, the town was ruined. Everyone had been eaten, and the dragon was gone. And one really bad insight roll later, I began my quest to find out where everybody went, not realizing everyone was dead, and his life was spared by shifting planes, or that he even had shifted planes. Greg Gator was meta as hell. The party in character did everything in their power to avoid Greg Gator, while out of character were loving every dumb thing that happened. Between unwittingly plane shifting and at one point the big bad evil guy literally holding my hand leading me back to the party. I have a more complete story on this subreddit if you're interested. Dave here, if you have not seen Fred Burger, you must check him out. Literally one of the greatest cartoon characters and voices in cartoon history.
I like nachos!
There are two particularly weird characters I've come up with, but haven't used. One is a kobold fighter who only fights with a greatsword that's more than twice his size. Unlike many kobolds, he grew up admiring the noble ways of metallic dragons, and swore to become a knight capable of protecting his tribe and people in need. He is strength-based, despite the -2 strength kobolds get, and he fights by jumping around and cleaving people with his huge sword. His grovel, cower, and beg ability is reflavored. So it has the same effect, but instead of cowering pathetically, he kneels to his opponents and challenges them to a glorious duel, unaware that they are not taking him seriously for his small size. Then there's this lizard folk Circle of the Moon druid, who left his tribe in order to seek pleasure in the form of delicious foods. Double He travels the world in search of new and delicious foods, and while he isn't very smart, he sometimes takes note of his favorite recipes so that he can pleasure himself with them, phrasing, later on. He likes to wild shape and uses mostly dinosaur forms, as they are common in his homeland, but the form he favors the most is the glorious giant toad, since this form allows him to swallow smaller enemies. Any humanoid who challenges him shall be killed in the name of deliciousness and be digested by the stomach acid of the glorious giant toad. This guy was born out of an attempt to get a character's initiative and movement speed as high as I possibly could. Blitz Yeager, Tabaxi swashbuckler warmage monk gloomstalker. Blitz is so named because of his incredible speed, reflexes, and a sixth sense for danger. As he was born, a bolt of lightning struck the house his mother was giving birth in. It was very ominous. No one knows where he comes from. He just wanders the world, doing good deeds and helping people. What most people don't know is that this is a curse. Blitz offended the Sealy court by trying to steal some sacred artifacts, killing a dozen innocents in the process. If Blitz does not continue doing deeds that Titania would consider good, he begins to feel pain. The longer he goes, the more agony he's in. Small good deeds bring slight relief. Bigger good deeds give him more relief for longer. Once he has performed 1,000 good deeds of sufficient magnitude, he will be released from his curse. His current top speed is 87 kilometers an hour. He can move up to 480 feet on his first turn. After that, it's 420 feet in one turn, though he can't do it every turn, and his initiative score is plus 18. I played a Sun Elf Spoiled Princess, Bard class by default, because she never put in the work to any other class but liked expensive instruments, who became possessed by her righteous, lawful, ancient paladin founder of her house, who forced her to do the right thing and help save the world. The princess was not impressed. There were 2 character sheets for this character, 1 set of stats, and 2 voices, and very set conditions for when one spirit or the other took possession of the body. She was very fun to play. The weirdest one would also have to be my most cherished character. Sorry it got long, I just love this character to pieces. Bertha, the Giantess. Stereotypical half-orc barbarian, but with the Unearthed Arcana subclass Wild Soul, and 9'5" for flavor. The daughter of an elven prince enslaved by an orcish clan after his caravan was ransacked, Copernicus Versiri, and an orcish warrior, a wife to the clan's chieftain, Gertruda Spinethorn. Through curiosity and rather odd circumstances, the 2 fell in love soon after meeting, regardless of their heritage, and started to see each other in secret. During this time, the chief was also trying for a child, unaware that he could not bear. It wasn't long until Gertruda was pregnant, and she knew it wasn't her husband's. She helped Copernicus escape just days before the birth to keep him safe, knowing that there was going to be hell to pay. When the baby was born, the clan was in a fury at the girl, her ears pointy as an elf's, skin a lighter green, and hair a deep velvet. The chieftain was so pissed he threw Gertruda and the baby straight into slavery to live out the rest of their lives in chain. The clan worked both to the bone, but the girl especially. Beating her, kicking her, calling the girl Bad Birth as an insult, and eventually just calling her Bertha for short, becoming her name. The girl spent her entire childhood in hard labor, even receiving lashes on her right side whenever she talked out of line or fought back. The only thing she had to look forward to was the night, when her mother would sing to her until she fell asleep, a lullaby from her lover, and his gift to their daughter. At the age of 8, the chieftain found out about their midnight singing and tied Gertruda to a pole. He put an axe into Bertha's small hands and then put another against the back of her head, yelling at her to either kill her mother or be killed herself, which, unfortunately, Bertha did. That night she sang alone, keeping the lullaby in her head until she snapped, and a burst of chaotic fey energy surged from her body. The cell busted open, allowing Bertha to escape, running off into the forest, never to be seen by the clan again. She ran for the rest of the night until she was too tired to keep running, though woke up the next day being ambushed by a massive boar. She would have been gored to death had it not been for the group of goblin hunters who dropped down from the trees and killed it, saving her life. Seeing Bertha's pointy ears and odd skin tone, the goblins thought she was some kind of giant goblin and took her into their camp. From there, she grew up with the goblins, getting larger and developing a love for the little things. She learned of the forest and how they hunt and play, not under the rule of Matglubiet, but going nameless to avoid his wrath, just as their trickster god, only going by titles. From there, she learned to unleash her fey magics, contesting with her orcish blood, but making her raging all the more powerful. With her strength and height, the goblins eventually gave her the title Giantess. As she grew, though, she started to wonder of her father, or at least her real father. The lullaby was all she had of him, and despite having a new goblin family, she longed to find out more of her other parent. And so, only knowing the elf's first name, and that notion that he held importance in society, Bertha said goodbye to her goblin friends and set out on a journey to find him, wanting to meet her family and hopefully make new family along the way. Bertha is one of the sweetest people you will ever meet, making small gifts with crudely drawn cards for people and hugging every new person she sees, holding a special place in her heart for gobbos. She is very strong, though has reverted to a personality and speech similar to that of a child due to her horrible early childhood, which most people mistake for her being stupid. For example, Bertha want fight horny pig being a boar. She's littered with scars going up her right side, old and warped, and still always has a dumb smile on her face in spite of any situation. She loves making friends and will protect them to the very end, even taking harm to ensure they are well. I've only ever been able to play her in a D&D Discord server and want to play her in a real game so badly. But I'm the only guy in my group that kinda knows how to DM. A few highlights I remember from the Discord was once when she was wrestling a boar to the ground and tried to throw it by the tusks into a tree. She rolled a nat 20 and sent it into the stratosphere. Another was the time she tried to hide from a player character by covering her face with a plate and saying, "Bertha, no here. Bertha is lasagna. Bertha say lasagna noise." Hello, my beautiful little key lime pies of infinite cosmic youth. Thank you for wrapping your shimmering mental tendrils around this video and embracing it to the very end. I hope you have been inspired to create a character that is completely your own, and look forward to sharing your weird characters on the next one. If you have a weird combination of class, race, and backstory you'd like to share, please do so in the comments below or on our official subreddit, r/MrRipper. And if we like it or feel like tormenting each other, we'll probably narrate it professionally on a stream or a future video soon. If you're a DM or a player looking for a group, please check out our Discord server. Link is below in the description. So many people have found groups already, and it seems to have quickly become an inviting space for folks from all walks of life to geek out and chop it up on some high fantasy rigmarole together. If you love the channel and feel like supporting us in some way, please consider checking out our merch store or any of our sponsors from this past month. You are the reason we're able to bring you new adventures every day of the week and the inspiration behind our growth and development. And for that, we are forever in your debt. If you love me and want me to be happy, poke on over to my website, www.davemakesnoises.com. The official soundtrack to our live stream can be found there, as well as links to my socials in case you give a shit about what I ate on my birthday 2 years ago, or whatever it is that you cool kids are tictogram tweeting about nowadays. Quick life hack: practicing awareness for even a split second counts as meditation. So take a second, be here with me, and breathe. And please sub for nat 20s, and I love you, and Rip Daddy loves you, and Brian and Nolan and Scott and Jeffrey and Cello and Jake love you, and we'll see you tomorrow. Mwah.